All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Just going to go over an agenda quickly of what we're going to be talking about today. So to start, we're going to go over some quick prospecting tips that are really just some things to keep in mind when you're approaching prospects. Then we're going to get right into the BBD Starter Plan, what it is, who is it for, how can you customize it, and also we're going to be talking about how you can get your own custom starter plan set up with Benefits by Design, so stay tuned for that. So here we go, just getting started with some quick prospecting tips. The first one that we're giving is to take a structured approach. And one easy method that we suggest is the 3 Ps, which is purpose, process, and payoff. So this is definitely something that's good to keep in mind whenever you're approaching a prospect, kind of on the back end in your approach in terms of coming up with your purpose, process, and payoff. But it's also something that you can explicitly mention when meeting with prospects. So just as an example, purpose, I'm a benefits advisor, looking to guide you through this whole process of getting a plan set up, monitoring the plan's experience, handling any renewals moving forward. Process, we'll have a meeting, I'll do a needs analysis, I'll gather employee data, I'll get quotes for you, and I'll look at all the information, and then payoff, what's in it for them. I'll have a report for you, and also be able to make a recommendation at our next meeting. So there you go. Easy. Second quick tip here, you're the advisor, advise. So really what we mean by that is that, yes, it's great that you're there to gather any information, put together reports, present different solutions that might be appropriate for your client. But really what's most important is that you actually make a recommendation. It's kind of tying into that payoff from the first tip there, that's what they're looking for. You're the benefit specialist. You got to make that recommendation, you got to help them out. And then lastly, speed matters. So this is just the whole concept of striking while the iron is hot. A lot of the times when you're dealing with a smaller business, the business owner might have a lot of things on their plate, a whole bunch of things going on at once. They might be wearing multiple hats within the business. So when they have benefits on the brain, essentially, you got to be ready to pounce on that opportunity. You got to have a quick turnaround time. You got to really kind of be there when it's relevant, right? So that was it for the tips. Now let's quickly get into the BBD Starter Plan. Before we get into that, let's just give a general overview of what it even is. So the Benefits by Design Starter Plan is essentially just a pre-made plan design that we put together. It's ideal for small businesses between 3 to 10 employees. And what it is that we combined essentially the most popular benefits being offered by small businesses according to our own information. Some key things to keep in mind here is that when you're asking for a starter plan quote, there's actually no confidential information that's required. So we don't need any names or salaries, which is good. And also your proposal for a BBD starter plan is ready within 2 business days of us receiving all of the employee information. And really just to keep in mind, this isn't an average of 2 business days or whatever, it's really within 2 business days. So like I had mentioned, the BBD Starter Plan, what it does is that it combines all the most popular benefits for small businesses, but what exactly are those benefits? So according to our own information, with companies between 3 to 10 employees, the most popular benefits being offered are healthcare, dental, life insurance, AD&D, and dependent life. I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. Pretty standard in terms of a basic benefits offering that small businesses put together to give to their employees. So let's just jump right into what the starter plan actually is. Like I mentioned, we combined those benefits. So we have a flat amount for life and AD&D, flat $25,000. Dependent life, $10,000 for the spouse, $5,000 per dependent child. Health and dental, no annual deductibles, also no drug deductible for healthcare. 80% co-insurance. For healthcare, there is a $10,000 annual drug max. Semi-private hospital coverage, paramedicals, $500 per practitioner per year, and our standard travel benefit. Dental, same as health, that 80% co-insurance, but it's for basic services, so no major and no orthodontics. $1,500 combined calendar year maximum, and recall exams every 6 months. So when you send in a quote with that employee information for a BBD starter plan, this is the plan that you're getting. And you also always get the quick factors that we include just right here on the right. So you might notice that vision is not included in healthcare, but we do include the option for $100 and $200 every 24 months. We also include the option to reduce paramedicals to $300 per practitioner per year, and also the impact to remove the $10,000 annual drug maximum. Just a quick note for that, that's only available to groups with 5 or more employees. Dental, 9 months for the recall exams instead of the 6 months. And we also include the pricing for our employee assistance plan. If you're not too familiar with EAPs, we'll touch on it quickly later in the presentation, so hang tight for that. So basically, those are all the benefits of the starter plan, but let's go over the highlights. What's so great about the starter plan? Well, like I've mentioned a few times now, we really did just put together all the most popular benefits for small businesses according to our own information. Any business that's been operating for a year and has 3 employees is eligible for a starter plan quote. Your proposal to present to your client is ready within 2 days of us receiving all of the required employee information. And that employee information, we don't need names or salaries. So really all of this tends to put the business owner at ease. The fact that you can mention, hey, you know, I have this plan design. It's the most popular benefits that are being offered by other businesses of your size. We're going to need employee information, but nothing confidential. We don't need any salaries. And I'll be able to have a presentation ready for you within a couple of business days. So that, you know, really, what more do you need, I guess? And then also just quickly mention here that the Collage Human Resources Information System, HRIS, platform is included at no extra cost. This isn't just for starter plan groups, this is for any BBD group. So really what's included is their HR platform, so that handles anything like vacation management, things like that, as well as benefit sync, which removes the need for double data entry, which would really be beneficial for small businesses looking to kind of save time for their existing HR staff, or even if they don't have HR staff, having an HR platform can really make it easier than just having everything on various Excel spreadsheets. So a good thing to keep in mind, and another selling point of the starter plan for you. Just going to jump into a quick example here of when the starter plan would be a good fit. So here we have a small business. They've been in business for 2 years. And it's an owner with 2 full-time employees, and they've never had a benefits plan. So they're a virgin group. So here we see they've been operating for at least a year. They're at least 3 employees. They're eligible for a traditional plan with BBD. That's great. So the owner has heard from the employees that they would like to have group benefits coverage. One of them is looking to have coverage for their prescription medication, and the other one has mentioned that they have children who need to go to the dentist, essentially. So just for a checkup. So the owner is looking for a simple and cost-effective group benefit solution for their business to be able to meet the employees' needs. You as an advisor, you're meeting with them, you say, great, let's go to BBD. They have the BBD Starter Plan, which has health and dental insurance, a little bit of life insurance as well for your employees. It's the most popular benefits being offered to small businesses. And I'll be ready to present you my report with all the information and pricing within 2 business days after you've gathered the information. So again, pretty simple example. Pretty vague. It's not a specific industry, so it's something that we've all probably seen a lot of, and it's just a good fit for a starter plan. And no pun intended, but when a business owner kind of isn't really sure where to start with a benefits plan, they just know that they need to be offering something. Starter plan is always a good option. So moving right along. The starter plan is great, as I've mentioned, but it's not always a perfect fit for every business. So sometimes you might be looking for other things to be included under the plan. So here's some more information, again, from our own data about other benefits being offered by small businesses. So about a quarter of our block of business is also offering critical illness and LTD. And then a less significant percentage offering healthcare spending accounts and short-term disability. So again, it's just kind of illustrating that starter plan is really great, but it's not perfect, right? So with as with any other quote that you send in, you can always ask for additional options or benefits to be included. So you could do this with the starter plan as well. Anytime you send in a request a quote, just mention, I'd like to increase co-insurance for health and dental as an example. I want to add a drug deductible. I want to include long-term disability coverage, whatever else you can come up with. Something to keep in mind is that you do lose that benefit of no confidential information. If you're asking for disability coverage or for life insurance to be based on employees' salaries, since you're going to need to provide the annual salary for each employee. And also another benefit that you're missing out on is that the quote for a starter plan with any options that aren't included in those standard quick factors is going to have our standard 5 business day quote turnaround time, which is still pretty fast. It's not 2, but it's fast. So just jumping into a second example here of when you might need to ask for some options for the starter plan. Again, just a bit of a vague setup, but we have a small business. They've been in business for 2 years, and it's an owner with 5 full-time employees. So they've been in business for a year. They have at least 3 employees eligible for a BBD traditional plan. That's great. This time, the owner, they've done their research and they know that having a group benefits plan is a great way to attract and retain employees, and they're looking to hire more staff soon. And they also know that competitors in the same industry as them typically offer disability coverage to their employees in their benefits plans. So what is the employer looking for? They're looking for a simple and cost-effective benefits solution, but they also need it to include LTD. So you, as an advisor, you're meeting with this client and you say, look, we've got this great thing with BBD called the starter plan. It combines the most popular benefits, health, dental, a little bit of life insurance. We'll go ahead and get a quote for that, and we'll also request an option for LTD coverage. Keep in mind, again, you're going to need to gather annual salaries when getting the employee information, and the quote turnaround time is going to be 5 business days instead of the 2. But it's still a good go-to resource, even in cases like this. And you could still use a lot of the supporting arguments that apply to just the base starter plan as well. So that's great. And then also, earlier in the presentation, you might remember that I mentioned that as an advisor, you have the option to have your own custom starter plan with us. So essentially, this would be a good fit for any of you that have kind of your go-to plan design that you present to any virgin groups that you're meeting with when you're prospecting. So you know what benefits you want to offer, you know the co-insurance for health and dental, whether or not you want annual deductibles, including major dental, orthodontics, etc. You have all that on your back end. Also, any list of options that you might have. So let's say you usually present the plan with no vision, but you like to include it. You already know that going forward. You can have that set up with us on our back end. And what that does is that anytime that you send in a quote and you mention, hey, this is going to be for my custom starter plan that I have set up with you guys, whenever you send a quote into BBD, that 2 business day quote turnaround time kicks in, since we already have everything on our end, and you get to present the proposal to your client that much faster. And anytime, just like with our own starter plan, that you're going to kind of deviate from the benefits being offered or the options being offered, you're going to have to go to that 5 business day quote turnaround time. So we're going to see another example here quickly. This time we're not dealing with a business owner, but we're dealing with an advisor. So here we have an advisor who is actively prospecting with small businesses. This advisor has come up with a go-to solution that they always present for virgin groups that are looking to set up a benefits plan. They have their standard list of plan design options that are presented for this go-to solution, and they put this together to kind of present a base and an enhanced plan design to any virgin group that they're meeting with. And this, the way that they work, they have a presentation and a report that's already ready to go. They just need to adapt it to whatever client that they're meeting with, but it allows them to have this go-to easy solution to present to their clients. So just really quickly here, here's an example of what they came up with. So you can see the base and enhanced plan designs that they will be presenting to any prospects that they're meeting with. Life and AD&D, flat amount, dependent life, $5,000 for the spouse, $2,500 per child. No critical illness coverage for the base plan. Health and dental both have an annual deductible, 80% co-insurance, 10,000 drug max for health, paramedicals, $300 per practitioner per year, travel insurance. I'll let you go over the rest quickly, but basically just pretty standard plan design that you might see for a small business setting up their first plan. And then they also like to present the enhanced version, which includes critical illness. It removes the deductibles for health and dental, slightly higher co-insurance, no drug maximum, and a bit more generous for paramedicals on the healthcare side of things. And then for dental, they also like to include major services. So that way this advisor has kind of their go-to. They present this to any virgin group. This is the quote that they ask for whenever they go to carriers. And essentially what they can do is that they coordinate with the BBD Director of Partner Solutions to have their custom plans set up on our back end. And next time that they want to quote, they just need to mention, hey, here's the business and employee information. I'd like a quote for, the usual starter plan that I asked for. And their proposal for both the base and enhanced plan designs that we saw before are going to be ready for them within 2 days, which is great. And again, just to quickly mention, if any of the options do deviate from their standard plan design, it's still going to take 5 business days. So there we have it. Pretty much talked about everything that we need to know about the starter plan. Just going to go over some other small business solutions that we have here at BBD. Quickly, I'm going to mention the standalone spending accounts. So this is either a healthcare spending account, a wellness spending account, or a combination of both that your clients can have. This is available to any business that is incorporated, and the employees need to be earning T4 income. No minimum amount of time in business, no minimum number of hours per week. It could be contract, part-time. The spending account has no minimum allocation amount, no deposit, no enrollment fee. So that's great. We also have the Health Assist individual health and dental plans. So this is where the employee is the policyholder, not the employer. And one thing that's great about Health Assist plans is that employees can actually use their HCSA dollars to cover the monthly premiums of a individual plan. So that could be a great solution for small businesses looking to kind of tailor whatever benefits offering to the needs of their employees. And then lastly, just going to quickly touch on employee assistance plans, employee assistance programs, EAPs. Nowadays, we're hearing a lot more about the importance of mental health. Employers are much more aware that they need to be stepping in and taking care of their employees' mental health. So an EAP is the way to go. It offers therapy and various other services to their employees. So it's always a great option. And it's always something to bring up if ever an employer mentions that their employees' mental health is a priority. So a good thing to keep in mind. And that was pretty much it for today. I see there's a few questions in the Q&A. Let's go over those. First question, how was the plan design determined? What went into deciding what coverage would be offered? So I did touch on that briefly, but essentially what we did is that we took really the most popular benefits that are being offered and also the most popular arrangements for deductibles and co-insurance for health and dental. And we just combined that into the BBD Starter Plan. Another question, what is the difference between the starter plan and a standard fully insured offering from BBD? So really the only difference is that the starter plan is kind of that predetermined plan design, which allows us to get you a proposal in a much quicker amount of time. So it's that 2 business day turnaround time. And that would be the biggest difference. What limitations exist for who qualifies for a starter plan? So it's going to be any business that's been operating for at least a year and has 3 employees. And that's not only just for the starter plan, that's for any traditional plan with benefits by design. Does the create your own starter plan option include branding? I'll have to get back to you on that, but I imagine I'll have to get back to you on that one. Can I combine the starter plan plus standalone like I would with fully insured plus standalone? Absolutely. You can, and that's a good way to kind of really offer a comprehensive package If you just mention, the starter plan does cover this, but employees also have access to a spending account, whether it's a health spending account or a wellness spending account, for additional coverage. So yeah, absolutely. Can the standalone be set up for a client that is retiring from his business but maintaining a holding company and wanting coverage for himself and his wife? Unfortunately not, since that just wouldn't meet the minimum number of lives of 3 employees. So yeah, just really keep in mind that it's a business that's been operating for a year and has 3 employees for any traditional benefits plan. But some of those other small business solutions that we saw quickly at the end of the presentation would be a good fit here, sending up a, oh no, sorry, that is what you said, standalone. Sorry, I read that as starter plan. Yes, they can get standalone. Forget everything else I said. Yes, they can get a standalone plan. The business just needs to be incorporated and they need to be earning T4 income. Another question here, how are the renewals calculated? Are they experience-based or pooled? It's experience-based. Can the EAP be added to a standalone HSA? Yes, it can. How much is it? Diana, I'll be sure to get back to you with that. We do have the information, just I don't have it on hand. What are the commissions? Is there a max or min? I'm sure there is a maximum. Minimum, I'm not quite sure, but whatever standard commission you would be asking for any other small business that you're asking for a quote for, you can ask for the same amount on a BBD starter plan. Give more details about plans owned by employees. Hung, I'll get back to you on that. That's Green Shield Health Assist. I'll be sure to send you more information. Be able to get a copy of the offering, including cost. Yes, you can have a copy of what is included under the starter plan, and also it mentions kind of briefly what I touched on in the presentation in terms of these are the most popular benefits, et cetera, et cetera. I'll be sure to send that over to you. Cost will vary depending on the actual demographic information of the group. We can give an estimation. Usually what we say is that it's about $100 per month for a single employee and $250 for a family employee. And obviously the premium is usually split 50-50, let's say, but it's basically the average cost. Might depend on how many employees they are, how old they are, etc. But yes, I'll definitely get that copy for you. What if the business was operating for a while, however, just went down to 2? Would it continue or have to be changed? Some exceptions can be made. Like with any other carrier, even if they have their guidelines, if it's, they're 2 employees, but they're going to hire somebody in a couple of weeks, or, they just lost an employee, but they've been in business for 5 years and they know that they're going to hire back a 3rd one. Send in a quote, mention any details about the business that you think would be relevant, obviously, to making an exception, and we'll see what we can do. Oh, okay, and there we go. Thank you, whoever this was. $331 per employee for the EAP. So that was for Diana. Copy of the slideshow, absolutely, I can provide that. The benefits that are pooled, Simon, would be life insurance, dependent life insurance, AD&D. Those would be pooled, since for small businesses, it wouldn't be experience rated. If the group is a family operated business with 4 employees, will the family content matter? The family content does matter. But again, still just send in the information and mention whatever percentage of people are related, and we'll see what we can do. And I think that about covers it. So I'll definitely be sure to get back to you with a copy of the presentation, as well as any of the other questions I can. Oh, sorry, here's more here. Where can I get more information about the HR tool? So Michael, it's a Collage HR. We definitely do have marketing material available, but you could also check out their website. So yeah, it's Collage, COLLAGE HR, but I'll be sure to get back to you with that. And that about covers it. So thank you everybody for coming out. I'll be sure to get back to you with the answers to your questions. And if you ever have any other questions, feel free to reach out.